we've had some rain, but from pole position, the grid there, and we'll go through it in more detail in the build-up to the race, and each driver's best door racing team. Tyres. What are you going to do for this one? Wets or dries? Well, so far we've seen up and down the grid mostly slick tyres. There is a car on wet tyres there. Robert Schwartzman, number 10 for Prema Theodore Racing. And that car starting. Fantastic race. It's the 2018 edition of the Pau Grand Prix. The green flag is waved at the back of the field. The red lights come on. The revs rise. And we go racing here in France. Slip sliding off the line. A disastrous start for Alex Palou. He's only just got off the line. And a fantastic start for Ralph Ferron, who's got the lead of the race in the Prema car from the second row of the grid. De Reuvel has made a good start as well into third position. So drama there off the line. The pole sitter drops back to second place. Oh, into the wall in the background there. One of the Prema cars. Is it Schumacher's just about carried on? No, I think it may have been. In fact, Marcus Armstrong. Schumacher getting around the outside of him as they come into Pont Oscar for the first time. Yellow flags waved because not allowed to overtake into this part of the course on lap 1. But it'll be green flags to get past turn 4 at Lisi here and climb the hill. So overtaking will be allowed once again. And you can see there, it's damp but not wet. But what a start that was. A rocket ship start from Ralph Ferron. And from 5th to 3rd as well for De Reuvel, making a tremendous getaway. So drama already here at the start of the race. Disastrous start for Alex Palou, who said to me after race 2 earlier on, everything's good with the car and I'm happy with everything, but I just couldn't get it the start that I wanted. And it hasn't been the start at all that he wanted for this one. Nor for Ahmed, who slips from pole position into second place in the race early doors. So Ralph Ferron, having visited the podium last year, would now, thank you very much, like to get to the top step. Car 39 under investigation for grid position. It did look a bit shuffled up, didn't it, as they came onto the grid, and that's Alex Palou, so that will make life even worse for him if he ends up getting a penalty for that. But they come through the top 3 at the end of the first lap of the race. Ralph Ferron, Inem Ahmed, Jehan De Reuvel at 4th place, Fabio Scherer. Palou is dropping down out of the top 6 even, so Dan Ticktum is up to 5th, Schwartzman in 6th place, Schumacher 7th, Armstrong in 8th, Aberdeen 9th, and Ben Hingley in 10th place as it stands. Alex Palou down in 17th place. Incident between cars 8 and 27 is noted, it says on the screen. So we saw Marcus Armstrong getting a bit too close to comfort to the barriers, and Dan Ticktum was obviously the other driver that was involved in that, because those are the 2 drivers being investigated according to the live timing screen. It's 33-minute plus 1 lap race and gets underway in dramatic fashion. They can see under the trees as they go through the left-hander at Casino and this right-hander at Park Beaumont. There is some shelter from the rain, so there are some much drier patches around that very quick part of the circuit. But around the more exposed parts, it's very much dampened through there. Like the left-hander, it is, I'd say, wet rather than damp. So it's a track which is going to change and evolve as the race goes. Mick Schumacher up in the 4 car with the yellow helmet was able to get past him. His teammate, of course. So visibility is going to become an issue for everybody except for the race leader, Ralph Ferron, because more and more spray coming now. And they all made the right decision, didn't they, going onto the wet tyres last minute, because blimey, if you've been on slick tyres now, you'd have been having an absolute screamer. It's bad enough as it is on these treaded wet tyres with the slippery surface that we have and the spray coming up, those painted white lines. You've got to be 100% focused and concentrated for every last tenth of a second around this racetrack. There is no respite here. Just get one short breather, I suppose, down the start-finish straight. Otherwise, you're working away at the car. There through the chicane, the Foss chicane, which cost him his 2nd place finish earlier on today, is Fabio Scherer, the Swiss driver in the number 13 car for Motor Park. He's trying to chase down De Reuvel for the final spot on the podium. But De Reuvel getting away from him, the top 2 getting away from everybody. Ahmed has just set the fastest 2nd sector of the race so far, but it was only, 19 thousandths of a second quicker than the race leader. So, yes, he closed the gap, but it was by a minute amount. He's certainly got the pace of the race leader, though. De Reuvel going through in 3rd place there, 4th. Scherer, a big gap back then to should be the 5th place car coming up next of the race 2 winner, Sasha Van Astres. So on the brakes into Pont Oscar they come. The gap between the top 2 is 1.5 seconds. Right, drive-through penalty for number 39, Alex Palou, for an incorrect grid position. So It was a nightmare start to the race. It's just somehow got even worse for him. So already down in 17th, 18th place. He's now 16th. He's made one back up, but he's going to head to the pits for this drive-through penalty. So hopes and aspirations of winning this terrific race have now faded away for him very quickly indeed, and snatched away from him with what was a very messy start, unfortunately. So Ralph Aron continuing to be caught up here bit by bit. Reeling him in is Ahmed. Daruvula just going through shot there in third place in the pink colours of his Carlin Motorsport car. And having to be very careful through the tight chicane. And on the exit here, they get close to the barrier. You understeer there, you get on the power a fraction too earlier, and you're touching the barriers. But you've got to get a good run, you've got to go close to it to get the speed out onto this start-finish straight. Through they come once more. Aron, Ahmed, the gap 1.4 seconds. Daruvula holding station in third, and Scherer in fourth place. Fifth place is across the line now, Dan Tickton, 12 seconds already behind the race lead, and then Schwartzman. Incident between Dan Tickton and Marcus Armstrong is going to be investigated after the race, it says. So, Finastris has dropped way down the order, hasn't he? Down in a lap down. I don't think he's come through at all. So race 2 winner and the championship leader is completely out of the running in this one. Finastres on 37 points after the first 2 races of the season. Guanyujo on 25, yesterday's winner. Marcus Armstrong was tied with him on 25 points, joint second in the championship. Palou was 4th. Ralph Aron in 5th place on 22 points. So he is potentially moving to the top of the championship table here. Ralph Aron, he'll get 25 points. He'll get more points than he's already got. He's only got 22 so far this weekend, so that's going to move him onto 47 points. So potentially could pick up the championship lead here. Ralph Aron twitching away on the accelerator, the back end of the car, dancing around as he makes his way through to complete another lap of the race. But it's been a good lap. It might be the fastest lap of the race so far, potentially. Yeah, it is, a 1:23.670. So the gap now out to nearly 1.7 seconds back to Ahmed. Ahmed doing a terrific job though, on his first ever visit to this circuit, his first weekend racing these cars, and he should be more proud indeed of the way it's gone. Daruvula likewise going well in these wet conditions in third place. Ahmed is also on for a rookie class win. The next best rookie in 4th place is Scherer, and then it's Robert Schwartzman in 6th place, who's on for a rookie podium as it stands. But there's a long way to go before we can start talking about podiums and trophies in this race, and we know there's usually a twist or two in the tail here at this great race. There is poor old Alex Palou, number 39, who had a terrible start and was out of position on the grid and has been ordered to go into the pit lane for a drive-through penalty. So having started on the front row of the grid, he is having about as much of a nightmare race as you could possibly have. The other end of the spectrum in terms of terrific race starts, there was Ralph Aron. He goes through now, sector 1, 27.3. He was a bit slower than Ahmed actually through that first sector, so the gap comes down by another couple of tenths of a second. However, Ralph responds well in sector 2 by setting the fastest sector 2 time that we've seen so far in the race, and he pulls back 8 tenths of a second through that sector alone. So overall, he's going to continue to grow the gap here as he makes his way through that last kink and back down towards turn 1 to start another lap. Indeed, the gap is out to over 2 seconds now as he makes his way through turn 2 at the Virage de la Gare. Just about staying with him in second place is Ahmed, but you have to wait and wait and wait before you get third place. 6.5 seconds back to Daruvula in third position at the moment. So Ralph Aron leads, Ahmed in second place, Jan Daruvula in third, Fabio Scherer is 4th, Dan Tickton is in 5th place, Robert Schwartzman 6th, Mick Schumacher in 7th place, Jonathan Aberdeen is 8th, Ben Hinchley in 9th place, Marcus Armstrong is in 10th position. Then 11th we've got just outside the points again, he's been outside the points a couple of times by a narrow amount this weekend, is Ferdinand Habsburg. Marino Santos dropped out of the top 10 to 12th place, Nikita Troicki is in 13th, Yuri Vips up to 14th place, Guanyujo, yesterday's winner and the championship leader after round 1, race 1, is 15th currently in the number 1 Prema Theodore racing car. Kevin Andre Sori in 16th, Petrov 17th, Buddy Nathan in 18th, Fernandez 19th, Julian Hanses, who had a good race too, is down in 20th place. Palou 21st, Fenestres down in 22nd place, and De Francesco at the back of the running has gone into the pits now, so he's 3 laps down. So that's the order as it stands in this race. The lap times continue to be very impressive indeed for Ralph Aron. He's got that gap steadied at around about 2 seconds. Sometimes it's just under, sometimes it's just over. Look at the visibility that these drivers have to try and weave their way through here. If you're in the middle of the pack and you've got a car or two just in front of you, you're just driving on pure instinct around here, because there's no way they can see the corners that are coming up. Incredibly difficult for them. Oh, and off, I'm afraid, for Marcus Armstrong. Damage to the front right suspension. That is along the pit straight, and he's not the only one, is he? He was joined there. That could have been Ferdinand Habsburg, I think. A quick flash of the blue and black car. It looked like it might have been the Austrian that was in strife as well. They were pretty close together on the track last time we saw them. So Marcus, who had a terrific run in race 2, has point. Right, try and work this out. Pick them up through the mist. And we're about to get 2 damaged cars. There off is Armstrong. Onto the start finish straight, and it's going to deliver us a safety car. So Ralph Aron, who got a 1.8 second lead, is now going to have Ahmed right with him for the restart. Daruvla, who they had completely dropped, he's going to be up there with them as well. It's pretty blue. There were 1 or 2 clouds, but it didn't really look like the rain was going to come. But it's so volatile, the weather around so far. Not a single driver has been on the podium twice this weekend. Ralph Aron might be about to change that, and he might be about to go to the very top step of the podium, but he knows he's got his work cut out. I mean, taking away the rest of the field and what they might try and do about him, he's just got to beat the track as well in this and not make any mistakes. So, safety car leading them round, backed up the pace a little bit here. Is it going to be coming in soon? Lights are still on at the moment, and they're getting towards the end of the lap as they come down into the final chicane. He points here where you get right by the track. Now, red flag. The race is going to be suspended. So, yes, the incident has been cleared, as we saw, but as I feared, because of the worsening conditions and the visibility, which is definitely going to be an issue, the race has been suspended. So it is going to be, I'm afraid, a red flag for the time being. The clock will stop with just under 13 minutes left on it, but these cars rating is so up and down that at the lower points of the circuit the water can gather. So the old Pyrenees weather has made us come unstuck a little bit here with this race. The cars are being sent back in. Went from 5th to third with a good move in the middle of the race, and then went from 3rd to 1st at the last corner potentially. Confirmation of the race results then, with the race suspended with just under 13 minutes to go. Because of the weather. So Ralph Aron, the winner after 11 laps. Inem Ahmed in 2nd. Jen Daruvla in 3rd place. 4th for Fabio Scherer. 5th, Dan Ticktum. 6th, Robert Schwartzman. Mick Schumacher 7th. Jonathan Aberdeen 8th. Ben Hingley 9th. Marino Sato in 10th place. They can see the 3 drivers that DNF'd.